আপনারা দেখছেন টকিং পয়েন্ট।
Welcome back. Before we took a break, we were talking about the situation of women in Bangladesh in general, but we have the whole canvas is so big that we are talking about women in Europe, women in India, women in Bangladesh, women in Pakistan, women throughout the world. See, and unfortunately, they are not being regarded as first-class citizens. See, particularly in a country where the Prime Minister is a woman, the opposition leader is a woman, and so many ministers are women. Okay, so we were talking about the situation in Bangladesh and their empowerment. And you were talking about that women are not being given their rightful place in the society, the empowerment in Bangladesh of women.
Yes, I mean, we were talking about, I'm not talking about the politicians,
No.
because at this time, yes.
Because they are the icons, I mentioned them because
yeah.
they're icons.
But in the villages, because we have so many women and at grassroots, and if given the opportunity, they can do miracles.
Right.
And that has been proved by Professor Yunus's microcredit, that has been proved by Sir Abed's BRAC, because women with very little money.
By the way, BRAC holo prithibir shobcheye boro NGO. This has to be emphasized that this is a Bangladeshi setup, which is the biggest organization, non-government organization in the world.
And they are working all over in Africa.
All over even in this country.
Even in this country. And the thing is, the women with a very small amount of money, they have been able to bring about a change in the family. And I read in one of Professor Yunus's articles during the early days that the men actually didn't like the idea of women being empowered by getting the loan, because his criteria was to give the money to the women, because he said that if you actually give the money to the woman, you can be sure that the children will benefit. The woman won't run away. She will use the money to benefit the children.
এই দেশে child credit দেওয়া হয় মেয়েদের account.
Absolutely. So, and it happened. And it was proved, and the health of the community has improved. Women are now more educated, and women feel more empowered. These simple things have helped. I mean, if you look at the statistics, I mean, I've seen some statistics, and it is very, very
this is
encouraging.
Magic, isn't it? A small amount of 300, 400 taka that change the entire fortune of the family. See?
Absolutely. And women are very, very creative, very creative. I'll tell you, I'll give you a little example. In this country, I had the opportunity to work with women who are home workers. There is an invisible workforce. They work at home, they stitch garments, they do all sorts of things for big stores, you know. And I actually ran some training program for these women, because I said to them, look, you can work at home, but because you have caring responsibilities, but there may be other things which you can do. So at the end of this course, 2 women came to me and they said, can you teach us how to drive? I said, what? Why do you want to drive? I am here to, you know, to find out what you can do to earn a livelihood without homeworking, and you want to learn to drive? She said, yes, we've got an idea. I said, what idea? She said, look, our husbands, they have to go to work in the morning, and we have young children. So what we have to do is, before our husbands go to work, so if you teach us to drive, then the 2 of us could actually deliver newspapers to the news agents. And for that, we need to drive. And while our husbands are sleeping, we can go and do this work. I found money, trained the 2 women. They were African Caribbean women. They learned to drive, and that was their new job.
Great.
They were delivering newspapers in the local news agents, and while their husbands were asleep, so they didn't have to worry about the children. So women are very, very creative, given the opportunity. And here we are, instead of harnessing their energies, their ideas, their creativity, we are just treading on them and demolishing them.
Because, you know, going back to this situation in India, in those northern Indian regions and the Rajasthan area, by tradition they treat women as second-class citizens all over the world, yes, but there they say that no, women should remain at home and should not go out, see. and that is why all this violence takes place at home and is not reported, see. And whereas, as you were mentioning, see, that our Bangladeshi men also don't like the idea of women being empowered and having the money and then running the business, a small business. And again, the same thing happening. A woman has the safety, the security, and the happiness of the family at her heart, and she doesn't want to disturb the children. Let them sleep while my husband is at home. I can go and do this wonderful project.
So as I said, that women are very creative, and you can find examples of this across the world, everywhere.
This is great. What else did you learn and come across in your experience in London and working with the community?
Well, I mean, there are all sorts of, and if you talk about violence, I mean, one of the things that you hear quite frequently now is forced marriage, honor killing in this country, and it has happened.
This is taking place in the Bangladeshi Indian community.
Yes.
Not in the host community.
No. Honor killing, the parents arrange marriages and the girl might not want to marry a stranger, complete stranger, because say somebody who's
coming from a rural area in Pakistan or India or Bangladesh.
And they might arrange a marriage with somebody they have never known, never seen. And again, it's very difficult to adjust because the girl has been born and brought up here. Somebody in rural Bangladesh or rural Pakistan
you can't speak the language, can't communicate, and probably the age difference is so much that there cannot be a meaningful relationship with the girl.
Exactly, and there have been incidents highlighted in the media. Then more recently, this girl, the father took this little child to Pakistan and disappeared, and the mother was trying to track her down.
Yes, for several years.
6 years, I think. She's now 6.
Yeah, she took about 3 years to get her daughter back, see. Because the wheels of government are so slow, and between two governments, see, if somebody is taken away from, removed from the mother, and the father does that, but father is here, and father has been imprisoned because he has said that she has been kidnapped in Pakistan, but well, all is well that ends well, and she has been found. Again, the same thing probably that we could say that sometimes out of bad things comes out some good things. As this incident in Delhi has kind of raised our understanding of this situation, and once again reminded us that women are not being treated, whether it's India or Pakistan or Bangladesh or whatever, as you mentioned, even in Europe. So this has raised. But how do we really improve the situation of women? Is it just through education? We have talked about it, I think, the earlier segments, you see. But I really want to talk about it again and in detail. How do we improve? Can we have better laws? How can we have better laws? Because as we said, that women are not being treated as first-class citizens, you see. It's a man's world, everybody says, you see. Now, see, the chairman, and then now we have this word chairwoman, you see. Now we have something which is called chairperson, you see, in between the two. So this is the mindset of the society, the language, the culture that treats women as not equal, see. Though the birth of a daughter in India is celebrated as the arrival of Lakshmi, as they say, see. And Lakshmi is a goddess, four-hand goddess, who is the goddess of wealth, who comes with a pot full of overflowing pot of gold, and she has lotus. But what happens is that the birth of a girl is considered, it's a house of expense. How will we manage the dowry? So instead of targeting the curse of dowry, we target the girl, and she is killed. As I said before, some 12 million girls are aborted because they are considered to become huge burdens on the families.
I think there must be a lot of pressure put on this dowry system you are getting a girl, you are getting a woman. Why all this dowry? And sometimes what happens, the mother-in-laws also torture the daughter-in-law for the dowry. Or what have you brought from your parents? Why should they expect? Life is changing. I mean, if I give you a little example, I mean, even in the royalty, in the past, the successor would have to be a male, but now they have changed the law.
Yes.
That, you know.
These are the signs of time.
These are signs of time. So they are happening. And we have to actually look at the people at grassroots who are the majority. In Bangladesh, it's the people in grassroots in the rural areas, they form the majority. In India, they form the majority. And we have to actually respect them and ensure that, you know, that they get their right share of everything. And men must be told again and again that you should not discriminate against. That's something that should be, you know, repeated in everything. And wherever there is an opportunity, I think we should pass on that message. I mean, not very long ago, but only one generation ago, my aunt, I was mentioning to you earlier on, who was a protege of Rokia, and my father's sister, when she was 11 years old, she was told that she couldn't go to school anymore.
Why?
Because she's grown up, Parda. So she said, well, my brother can go to school, and my friends who are non-Muslims can go to school, but what about me? Why can't I go to school? No, you can't. So what the family did, they wanted her to study because education is important. So they hired a tutor who was an old man, and she never ever saw the tutor in her life. Because between her and the tutor, there was a parda, a curtain. And she used to do all the work and pass it underneath the curtain. And by doing that, she did her matriculation for several years, passed with flying colors. Then she said, I want to go to college. I said, what? College? That's out of the question. Nobody will marry you if you go to college. If you are educated, nobody will marry you. And then
you will be considered bad.
You will be considered bad. So what happens? My father says, I think it's a good idea to get her married. So they found somebody who wanted to, you know, it was an arranged marriage. And the only condition was that he would let her study.
That's great. That's
so great. He was a doctor. So from Chittagong, she went to Kolkata. She went to a missionary college where she wanted admission. The sisters said, look, who do you think you are? You have come, half the session is finished. You have come so late. Come back next year. So she had tears in her eyes. Sister, there won't be a next year in my life. So they felt so touched. They took her in. She passed. She did her graduation with distinction. And at that point, Begum Rokeya actually gave a party for her in her school, Sakhavat school, to celebrate. She said, today, one of my dreams have come true. One of our girls have actually, you know, graduated. Then she did her master's. So all this fighting, and that's only one generation ago. And I could have never become an architect if my family hadn't allowed me. Going to a university with thousands of boys and just 3 girls, there was nobody there.
Yeah, but this really highlights the basic fact that the girls must be educated, see.
They must be educated, and people must accept that women are equal. They are given the opportunity, they can do anything. It's just that we don't give the opportunity.
It's very funny when you mention that the lady had to be taught by an old man and with the parda in between. You see, I used to teach at a university in Saudi Arabia, and I was sometimes asked to go to the girls' college, and we used closed circuit television. The girls, my students, could see me, but I couldn't see them. And sometimes I would even shut the screen so that they didn't see me, and they would ask me on telephone why they couldn't see me. And I said it was not fair because they could see me and I couldn't see them. But that's a different...
That's a different scenario. Yes, but as I said, that it was only one generation ago that, you know, they paved the way for us.
True.
And I think we should pave the way for the others. And
if the girls are educated, see, and not just the education that does not lead anywhere, but vocational training, things that they can learn, and then they can go into a kind of profession that they do not need anybody's help, see. They can become independent. They can be employed, they can earn money, see. Whether they become tailors, or whether they become welders, or whether they become car mechanics, whatever, see. But they should learn a trade, a skill.
Exactly, exactly. And that's what I think it's all our responsibility to make people independent so that they, and what happens, okay, it's good, you said that a man goes out to work, the woman stays at home. what happens if the man passes out tomorrow?
True.
Who's going to look after her children and who's going to feed her?
Back to square one,
Back
the
to
same
square
problem.
one, same problem. So you should, you know, things have moved, and we should move on with time, and we should not be frightened. I mean, men are frightened basically that they think, oh, the women will take the world over. I don't know what it is. It's sort of power, it's ego. It is.
It was a wonderful discussion that we have had. It's such a huge canvas that one can go on, as you also suggested, that one can go on talking about it for hours, and we will not see the end of this discussion. But it was wonderful having you here. I'm grateful to you for your making the time on a day when you were so busy. But I would like you to say some final words to our viewers, because you are, in my opinion, an icon in your own right, and you have achieved so much as a Bangladeshi woman with a string of degrees, professional degrees, experience, and a Royal Award, MBE. So would you like to say something, final words to our viewers?
Thank you very much for saying all these kind words about me, and I'm humbled. And well,
you deserve it.
I believe that there should be equality. I worked as head of equalities in a local authority, so I believe firmly in gender equality. And gender equality, there has to be a commitment from top to bottom, and it has to start at grassroots. I mean, even in this country, for the right to vote, women gave their life.
Right. Not many years ago.
Not many years ago. So we need to give women the respect that they deserve. We need to give women the facilities that they need. And women are actually doing so much for Bangladesh. Going back to the garments industry, yes, they are our foreign exchange earners. So they should be given an opportunity, education, empowerment. We should treat them equally. We should train our professional people, the police, the local authorities, to actually respect women. We should encourage women to
because they are their mothers and daughters.
Yes, we should encourage women to report, and the community to report if the rules are being violated. And
there should be hotlines.
There should be hotlines, yes. There should be hotlines to report. And the punishment for abusing women must be very severe, because this is the 21st century. And, you know, we cannot let people behave like barbarians. Barbarians are better, I'd say.
Thank you for coming to the show. It's a pleasure and an honor. Mrs. Saheen Westcobe. Thank you.
Thank you very much.